Yeah, brother. Hey, turn your camera off. Yeah. Yeah. That's how we're gonna do it like that.
Okay.
All right. So make sure we good.
Yeah.
Make sure we good. Make sure we good. Yeah, we straight. All right. We want to start off by giving all praises. First and foremost, we want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakah Kadash. We want to sing double honors to the apostles and the bishop elders of Great Millstone for teaching us this word in truth and sincerity and for ruling well. Salutations to the elect, Lord, one with some of those men and women that believe in fear. In the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, patiently waiting for the day of our salvation, the day of our redemption. And we the brothers from GMS Hawaii, and I'm the brother Gabar Yahawada.
This is the brother Kahan Allah.
Khan, and we the brothers from GMS Hawaii. Mina's big, Mina, bro. We wanted to get together real quick, you know, get a lesson in. Today's lesson is entitled "We're in the End Game Now," and this is inspired by this video that I was watching earlier. It was the algo update from Elder Wakaya Kwon from the UK. His page is GMS Fear the Most High 7 Ga, and please subscribe to his page because this Zaquan always got um, really really good videos, and they always edify. Every video he does is an edifying video. So go ahead and subscribe to that brother's video. And then it was also inspired by well, obviously this because this is the end game right here, right? This MOTB, the microchip that everybody's gonna be fitted with, and it was the title of the lesson was also inspired by some a quote that I got from a movie, Infinity Wars, where Doctor Strange said we're in the end game now, right? And when you look up the definition for end game, it really means something, right? The word end game, it says the final stages of a game or a situation, and we're in the final stages of the new world order being established, right? The last thing that they need is the system to be totally changed over to a digital enslavement system where everybody is fitted with a microchip, right? You see the image right here. Everybody is fitted with a microchip, a RFID microchip in their hand or in their foreheads, right? And a great example of that is I don't know if brothers ever saw the video that I did some time ago about the Moneyball, um, the not the movie Moneyball artist art exhibit, right? The Moneyball art exhibit right here, and then the individual that did this, that created this Moneyball. This is the Moneyball right here, right? And on the bottom of it, it has images, right? This devil right here, this guy right here. He created this art exhibit called the Moneyball, and this guy is extremely tapped in. He a high level warlock, right? This guy right here. But anyway, he had the different forms of money on a money ball. And the last form of money, right? It says the near future, biochip body as communication conduit, right? So you got the chip in the head, or you got it in your hand, and then you got the sign of the slave, right? That's what this money symbol is. Whenever you see the dollar sign with that line going in it, that's a sign of the slave, and that's where it started at because we were currency, right? And he goes into that the mark of the slave right here. So it started with the mark of the slave. Then you get to the Theron coin, right during the time of the Romans, and then you got the Federal Reserve System mark right here, and then it goes from the Federal Reserve System. They got the credit cards, credit card processing industry, and then it go from that to the payment using mobile devices, which we just got into that, right? Then you got the last stage. The last stage is this right here, biochip body. It says biochip body as communication conduit. So this is going how you going to be able to move in a new system is by way of this RFID microchip. The only way you can buy and sell is by way of this RFID microchip. And it says finish, which means it's finished. This is the last form of currency, right? And this is spoken about in the Bible, Revelation 13 and 16 on down, Revelation 14 and 9 on down, right? It speaks about this mark, the mark of the beast, where you got these other camps telling you that it's something that is not, sleeping with the white woman, sending all his forms. Now Nate, he's trying to come, you know, it seems like he's trying to come to understanding that it's this digital all, which is part of this digital technocracy. Well, but he wants to make it seem like he came to a conclusion. But the apostles and the bishop elders been teaching us this since day one, and they've been preaching about this even before YouTube came on, right? And now it's everywhere. It's evident. Why would first of all, why would this artist put this into his exhibit? Why would he do that? And I remember playing this right here. Let me play this real quick for you. I'll go to this right here. The guy explains the money ball. He explains it right here. So like here. Let me see if I can open this in a new tab. Open the link in a new tab.
It starts with this, the mark of the slaves.
Okay.
It was the first reserve currency ever known to man. Tallar coin from the Roman Empires. Spanish silver dollar from the Spanish monarchy.
Right.
It's a bridge. There's still a few things missing, but for the most part, the most important: U.S. dollar and Federal Reserve. Credit card, contactless, which is very interesting because this piece was made in 2014. It existed, the technology, but we didn't use it to pay as we use it now. And in the future, that it's either chipped or barcode.
Mhm.
So then he ends with the mark of the slaves again, because one of the things that he puts here on the shredded is that experts say that in less than 10 years, we're phasing out of paper currency. We're not having any paper anymore. Everything's going to be digital or in banks, and we're going to end up being slaves of some entity or some government or something. Starts with
Right, and you're going to be slaves into the new world order, to the bankers. This is why they're so excited about their digital transformation, their economic digital transformation. And right now they try to make it sound like this is something that's good for all. They want to make it sound like that it's something that is going to benefit you, right? Right now they're speaking against fiat currency. They're speaking against the Federal Reserve system. They're speaking against fractional reserve banking. All of a sudden, right? Why are they doing that now? Because now they want to they got a better way to put you in captivity again via what? This digital all, and it's right here. So he said that we're going to be, well, not we, but he said the people are going to be basically going to be slaves in the new system. It ain't going to be like the next system, the previous system, where you can buy what you want, you can go where you want, you can have pretty much anonymity. Anonymity. I can't pronounce it from here. Anonymity, which is basically nobody knows where you spend your money, how you spend your money, who you give your money to. Well, in the new system, everything's going to be extremely restricted. Everything, right? Everything is going to be rationed out to you, right? And you're going to be a slave to the bankers via this all. You got something, brother?
No, I was gonna say they already starting to do these type of well experiments, I guess, because they have well, not so strictly, but I don't know if you noticed that the credit cards, they give you like extra points if you don't go over a certain amount of like a carbon emission, because they're calculating everything through carbon emissions and all that, supposedly for global warming. You have American Express, Visa, they'll give you extra points for you to spend, if you don't make certain purchases. And that's indirectly Esau telling you, like, look, don't buy these things, don't do this, right? But eventually, like the author's going into, man, it's gonna get to a point where he's gonna want total control of what you're doing. And this is what we're seeing Esau do, man. He's actually pushing legislation for you to not be able to do certain things because of whether it's carbon emission, whether it's you know, uh, um, a threat to the environment. He's gonna come up with something to push everybody into a corner.
Yeah. You can go ahead and bring out Revelation chapter 13, start at 16. Baba Shah.
Come on. I'll share the screen. This is the book of Revelation 13, verse 16. It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand and in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
I'll break it down, brother.
That's right, man. So we're seeing that what that Esau's gonna make everyone bear this mark. Everyone that, of course, wants to be part of the of this world, man. And it says that all rich, poor, free, bond, they're gonna have to receive this mark, which is that CHIP, man, that microchip that's gonna be the medium for us to, or for the world to be able to to use the infrastructure pretty much, right? And the main focus is going to be through what? Finance. It says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that have the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And if you go into these the words buy or sell, it's pretty much, it tells you that to operate in the market, or the marketplace. And the world is a marketplace. Anything you want to do in this world is a monetary transaction, man. You're exchanging your time for money. You're exchanging good for money, or services for money, right? So in order for you to operate in this market that's controlled by Esau, you're gonna have to have that CHIP, man, which is gonna be that mark that says, yep, this person is allowed to operate in the market.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's like even now, like we're dealing. I was going to say, I know I heard Elder Pops Bar mention this, that digital money already dominates today. He said, like, how many times you go out and you actually use cash today? Like, even though we have a cash society, but it's like a hybrid society. It's
Mhm.
cash as digital. Most of the people use, every time I go out to go buy something, I rarely see people with cash. Rarely. People have it, they use it, but it's a rarity, right? And it says right here on ChatGPT, it says digital money already dominates today. Most money is already digital: bank deposits, credit, debit cards, electronic transfers, mobile payments. Physical cash represents a relatively small share of total money in developed economies. Importantly, your money today can already be restricted in certain cases: fraud preventions, court orders, sanctions, bank compliance rules. So money being tracked is not new. What changes with the newer digital system like CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, are the main source of concern people talk about. A CBDC could technically allow features like more precise transaction tracking, similar to banking today, programmability, e.g., stimulus that expires, right? And they talk about the new money in the new money system, that your money can expire, right? They give you that UBI, universal basic income, and if you don't spend it in a certain time period, it'll expire. You can't use it. You got some people that like to try to save money to have extras. Well, you can't do that with the new system. Automated compliance rules, but whether those features are used is political/legal decision, not a technological requirement. Countries could design CBDCs with strong privacy protections, minimal programmability, limited on government visibility, which that's not going to happen. That they're going to have These governments are going to have extreme visibility on how you buy and selling. Could spending be restricted? In theory, yes, but this already is true in limited contexts today. Examples that already exist: food assistance cards, SNAP, health savings accounts, corporate expense cards. A future digital system could expand such capabilities, but doing so broadly would require explicit law. There's nothing for these people to make a new law overnight, right? They make it sound like it take years for laws and policies to change, and it doesn't, right? They already got the laws on the books. They just need to to get it passed. And there's nothing to get it passed if the banking elite want it, which they do want it. Okay? It says major real world constraints. Even if governments wanted extreme control, they face obstacles. Constitutional protection. Well, we know that what's his man named Joe Biden when he was a senator, he told Supreme Justice Roberts that he would I'll get it right here. Right? Biden told Justice Roberts this at his confirmation hearing. Biden and Chief Justice Roberts, right? He told him this years ago. He says you gonna move on this, mark this right here.
Can a microscopic tag be implanted in a person's body to track his every movement? There's actual discussion about that. You will rule on that, mark my words, before your tenure is over. Can brain scans be used to determine whether a person is inclined toward criminality or violent behavior? You will rule on that. Can a microscopic tag be implanted in a person's body to track his every movement? There's actual discussion about that. You will rule on that, mark my words, before your tenure is over.
You see? And why? Because it's going to be there to track, just like they use the C-hip in dogs. Me and this brother, we have dogs, and our dogs got chips in them, right? So if they get lost, or supposedly they get lost, or we take them to the vet, or we take them to quarantine, they could just scan our dog, and they know that the dog belongs to us. They know if the shots is up to date on it, because they give them access to the dog's medical records, right? They're not constantly tracking the dog 24/7. But if they run into a scanner, they can be scanned. And this was in 2005 when Biden was he wasn't even a vice president then. He was still a senator. And he was speaking to Chief Justice Roberts at his confirmation hearing, which he told him, and you gonna rule on this. Why would he randomly say something like that? Because eventually that's gonna be the new thing. With the new policies and the law, they're gonna have to, they're gonna make some new laws. And it's gonna go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court can say, yeah, you can do it. Especially with the climate, whatever climate we find ourselves in that particular time, he's gonna be like, yeah, we can do it. It is lawful. And then guess what? You're gonna get the chip. You're gonna have the chip out there. Right?
That's right. Well, you have already examples of the chip being implanted on people for medical purposes. It's always something for convenience, so something to help people out, and then it becomes something of our everyday life. Well, we could see an example with the credit cards, man. When credit cards came, nobody wanted to use it, but then it just became so easy to use them. It became so common to use them that everybody just started doing it. Like, well, fuck it, it is what it is. Now they're phasing out cash. We're just gonna use these cards. The same thing with cell phones, with all of that, man. Issa just rolls it little by little because people believe that. Well, I don't know what majority of the people believe, but I know most people believe that these microchips are something new, but they're really not, man. I think I had read an article that said the first microchip was implanted on someone in 1998, man. This is already what 20, almost 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So Issa's been messing with this technology for decades, man.
And then I'm sorry, you got it quiet, my bad.
Yeah, he's been building up the infrastructure to roll out his NWO for that C-hit, man.
I tell you, you had mentioned the 90s, right? So I was watching this movie called White Man's Burden. It's on YouTube, right? And in the beginning of it, the little dude watching TV, and I'm gonna see if I can find it for you. White Man's Burden, the introduction scene, White Man's Burden, intro, and opening scene, right? Yeah, this is a movie, White Man's Burden. And the dude, I'm gonna go to the part where the little dude's watching TV and shit. Right, he's watching TV right here, and they got Diva Force. Now remember, it says they do it backwards, right? They threw it in there. They do it in there backwards. I just want you to look at this and see if you see what I seen. All right, brother.
Come on.
Let me play this real quick.
The suspect was described as a male Caucasian, 25 to 30 years.
The story. Putting on a nice quiet.
When I was in high school.
Diva Force tonight at
Getting
Horrified.
You see that? You see that, brother? You gotta catch it. You gotta catch it. So at first they say Diva Force, right? And then the next thing you know, the black lady said getting, and then they changed it, and the dude said RFI, like a RFID chip. Check it out, bro. Jake might think I'm stretching it, but bro, I watched this movie several times, bro, and I caught that shit the first. I was like, what? Hold up. Check this out.
The suspect was described as a male Caucasian, 25 to 30 years.
The story. Putting on a nice quiet.
When I was in high
Diva Force tonight at
Getting
Horrified.
You hear that? She was like getting, and the nigga said RFI, man. RFI. Like what? That didn't make any sense. Like, why would they just say that? Because I'm telling you, they speak in code in movies, man. And this movie came out in 1995. It's a great movie. Jake need to watch this movie. In the movie, basically, Jake is on the up and Esau's on the bottom in this movie. You know, but did you catch what I was saying, brother? I don't know. Maybe I was. You know what I'm saying? I played it over and over, and I was like, yo, this nigga said, because they said instead of saying well, even he did say RFI. She was like getting RFI'd. That's what he said, man. He played it.
Force tonight at
The suspect was described as a male Caucasian, 25 to 30 years.
The story. Putting on a nice quiet.
when I was in high
Diva Force tonight at
Getting
Horrified.
Yep, getting RFI'd, man. You see that? You can't make that shit up. So they was already pushing that spirit even in their movies. And right? And they've been pushing that not just in their movies, but in reality. Because that's the ultimate goal, is to get everybody chipped. Right? That's what my man Aaron Russo said.
But yet at the same time, we have a central bank that plans everything for us, right? And the graduated income tax is another plank of the Communist Manifesto, right? So right there, you have two major planks of the Communist Manifesto that have been brought in because of the Federal Reserve System, okay? So the ultimate goal that these people have in mind is the goal to create a one world government run by the banking industry, run by the bankers, and they're doing it in sections. The European currency, the euro, and the European Constitution is one part of it. Now they're trying to do it in America with the North American Union, right? And they want to create a new currency called the Amero, right? And the whole agenda is to create a one world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is getting me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish. And all money will be in your chips. And so instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to. If they say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally.
Total control.
Total control. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, They can just turn off your chip.
Yep.
And you have nothing.
Yep.
You can't buy food. You can't do anything.
And no man, Revelation 13 and 16. And he calls them all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark of or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Right? And that's what that is. That's the end goal. Somebody people, what, you got something, Zaquan?
Yeah, I had something up on the screen.
You gotta share your screen, bro.
Oh shoot, Salaki. Real quick. So I asked when was, in what year did the idea of a microchip being used for tracking or ID first came about, either in cartoons or movies. And it says the idea of microchip use for tracking or identification goes back several decades, both in real world tech and fiction. There isn't one single first year, but here's a clear timeline. In real life, 1940s to the 50s, early identification traffic concept like IFF transponders in World War II aircrafts, 1960s to 70s, which this is pretty much when I guess ESO started messing with RFID for everything, pretty much. It says RFID, radio frequency identification technology, begins developing. 1973, the first patent for modern RFID systems was granted to Mario Cardullo. On 1980s to the 90s, RFIDs used in animal tracking, key cards, toll systems. 1998, the first human RFID implant experiment was publicly documented. Kevin Warwick, UK. So the real world tech foundation existed before it became common in movies.
Yeah, well, it's through gradualization. They gradually implement it until they make it a thing, a common thing. Gradualization. That's why it took so long these different years, but it's spiritual too, because in 1960 to the 1970s, that's around the time Elder Abba Bivens came on the scene.
Yeah.
Right? So it was getting prepared for the end even back then. Well, really since Yahweh Shai. But we talking about the RFID chip. What you got it, brother?
And yeah, like you said, it's all through gradualism. I had done a lesson a couple weeks back on how there's this new microchip company. Supposedly they cater to ranchers for their cattle and whatnot, for the livestock, and they got chips that track their vitals, track their mood, a bunch of shit, bro, like GPS. And then I was talking to the chat and asking it about the RFID chip on humans, and it was pretty much lying, saying like, there's no evidence that the microchips can track and measure vitals and all that shit. But at the same time, I was looking at the company that was literally telling me what the chips are doing now, man.
Yeah.
So it's
it's set up to throw you off.
Yeah.
Because in this way, the longer you play with chat, because I run into that too, right? I ran into that earlier. A couple of things I asked chat. But as long as you deal with chat, you start going back and forth, and you start cornering chat. Eventually, chat will break down. Like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And it's evident that we in that time, right? This is the end goal. Aaron Russo said it. That's what the bankers want. A one world government ran by the bankers, even though all the governments is run by the banker elite, the super banking elite. They want to come out of the shadows, right? And they want to have you cornered so where you can do nothing. Right, that's why Klaus Schwab said you'll have nothing and be happy. Right, you'll have nothing to fight for. You'll have nothing to fight against. You'll have no power. You'll own nothing. Right, everything will be given to you by the elite bankers via their new chip system. Some people will have more. A lot of people will have a lot less. Right,
right,
and that's what they want. They want you in the new system, you ain't got to track a person for real because you living in 15-minute cities. If you go past beyond a certain point, you got to get chip. You got to get your chip scanned. If your chip scanned and you somewhere outside of your perimeter, they're gonna get you. You're gonna be, you know what I mean? You're gonna be cut off, right? Or you won't even be let into the other place. So you try to go from one city to the next, you're not gonna be able to do that. You're gonna be able to get in there. You want to go travel, right? If you don't got enough credits, if your credit social credit score is low, you ain't gonna be able to travel. You're not even gonna be able to purchase the ticket. That's what the new system is about, and that's how it's tracking you. Every time you move, every time you purchase something, you're being tracked through your purchases. Even now, right? All your digital purchases, they know what you buy. They know what you look at. That's why they advertise it to you when you go into these social websites. You got it, brother. It's locking, bro.
No, you're right. And well, look, this is some of the examples we see in movies and cartoons, and this was in the 60s, man. They started playing with this, well, if they're showing you in movies and shit, that means that they already started doing some sort of, experiments. This is why, I was pointing out the 1960s to the 70s. ESO had to been playing with this technology since back then. So this is what we're talking about, 65 years roughly of ESO playing with this technology, man. And now they're making it seem like, oh, we're trying to make it safe and this and this and that. But in reality, they're just slowly rolling it out. Like, yeah, look, it's safe. Look, it's reliable. Oh, look, it's helping people out. It's making life better, easier for you. Now you don't have to carry a wallet. Now you don't have to, have your car keys to turn it on. The other day, I actually went into a store. I mean, it wasn't the chip, but there was this couple, and they were paying for stuff with their Apple Watch, and they had this spirit about them where it was like they felt like yeah, we're in that circle of tech people. I don't know if you catch what I'm saying, but like, yeah, like people want to be a part of that the new era of technology.
That's right.
If I'm expressing myself correctly.
Well,
And
that's lucky, brother.
and they're willing to take on these new things that are coming out that East was pushing, man.
Well,
That's why a lot of those cyber communities or cyborg communities, when they interview these people, pretty much they all say like, well, I want to be part of the pioneers of what's coming next.
Yeah,
because it's inevitable, and they know.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's how they do it. They first is through convenience, then it's through necessity, and then it's made mandatory. Oh, this is convenient, so let me do it. Right. That's why nobody had a problem about switching from fiat currency to digital pay, tap and pay, and then you had the 6 years ago, which forced people to use digital payments. Nobody even wanted to take the dollar out of your hand. Oh, because it passed germs. So you got to tap your phone. And then people kept tapping and kept tapping. You were already using tap and go. Now it's tap and go for everything. Even your credit cards, right? Your credit and debit cards, they have all credit and debit cards didn't used to have that Wi-Fi signal on there. Now they do. So you just tap your card. You don't even gotta swipe it no more. Certain places like Walmart, they make you put. I don't know why Walmart don't use it. I think it's too expensive for them. So at a cost saving, they stop. They don't really use a tap like that in certain places, certain Walmart stores. But for the majority, it's tap and go. Apple Pay, Google Pay, right? Apple iPhones and Samsung or Android phones, they allow you to basically download your credit card to your phone. So now you just use your phone. And that's called gradualization. People don't even walk outside with their wallets no more because I don't want to lose my ID. I don't want to get robbed. Right? So let me just use my phone. But then you can lose your phone. What happens when you lose your phone? Right? So that's going to be the next thing. And then eventually it's going to go to the chip. You got it, brother.
Kind of. Well, I actually found this article that kind of goes hand in hand with that ball that the money ball that you brought up.
Yeah, con.
And well, I'll read this and then I'll point out what I'm trying to refer to. But this is from the Business Tycoon. It says from wallets to wearables, the next frontier in digital payments. And this is a bit old. This is from November 4, 2025. But check this out. It says the world of money is changing faster than ever. Not long ago, cash was king, and the idea of paying for a coffee with your phone seemed futuristic. Then came digital wallets, apps like PayPal, Apple Pay, Google Pay, and Venmo that redefined how we transact. Today, we are on the cusp of yet another shift. Wearable technology is emerging as the next frontier in digital payments, from smartwatches that let you tap and pay to rings and fitness trackers embedded with payment capabilities. The very act of making a purchase is evolving into something more seamless, secure, and integrated into our daily lives. The question is no longer if wearables will shape the future of payments, but how far and how fast. And ultimately, we know how far it's gonna go. It's gonna go to the sea hip, man. And check this out. This is pretty much the middle section of that money ball was this cash era, cards, digital wallets, contactless payments, wearables, and then what's next? The sea hip, right? So they're pretty much telling you where this is going. Um, Wanted to point something else too, because I know you mentioned smart cities. They go into like, why wearables are the future. It tells you seamless convenience, enhanced security, hygienic contactless, which you mentioned earlier, integration with lifestyle, global acceptance. It says with 85% of point of sale systems worldwide, now NFC enabled per MasterCard wearables can be used almost anywhere cards are accepted. So East was pushing this technology everywhere. It's not just in first world countries. Like East was pushing it everywhere.
Yeah,
Uh,
somebody on the comment board, Robert Mann says he says we're already chipped, cards, phones, etc. They use the chips to track us. Well, we're not already chipped. The RFID and the NFC chips are in your cell phones and in your debit cards, but we're not chipped. They want to make you the internet of all things, right? They want to put this thing, they want to take it from the chip and put it in you using via Salaki. I'll put this right back. Give me a second. They want to put this in you right here.
they
So
want to put you in the digital grid.
they want to make you a part of the digital grid by way of this RFID microchip, right? That's what they want to do. This right here. They want to put this transponder in you. So no, we're not already chipped. Now there are people in the world that do have it. You go to Switzerland, even places in America. You had that one company a couple years ago. I forget the name of that company in America that did it. It was like 50 of their employees did it. Right? They got chipped up so they can buy snacks and shit and get access. But we ain't chipped. So no, you're wrong when you say that, Robert. You're wrong.
No. Um, right here it says, "Oh, beyond payments, the superpowers of wearables. Wearables are not just about transactions; they are becoming multi-functional lifestyle companions. Health data plus payments. Imagine paying for groceries while your wearable monitors or your stress levels or digital identity, and all of this is things that the government could use for whatever, for insurgencies or rebellions. They have the movie Minority Report, where they can pretty much do a whole pre-crime scenario just by the way you feel, your stress levels. You could be pissed off at something, and Issa could be like, "Well, this guy has a high probability of committing a crime. Let's put him in jail until he comes down." You know, like that's the type of control Esau wants to have over people, man. And people don't really understand that because they to them Esau's trying to help everybody. To them is, oh no, the establishment just wants the best for us. And
Well,
that's not true.
and that's the lie. And that's why the simple believe every word, but the prudent man search out his goings.
Well, the scriptures say, if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly, and at the last he shall show forth his wickedness.
Right, because nothing he does is for the good of the people. He could care less about the being the good of the people. We just showed you information after information how they want this thing to happen. They want the people to be chipped. Who wants the people to be chipped? The super elite banking families, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, dumb people, and their ilk, right? But they just can't do it. They can't do it suddenly. So what they do, they use their proxies. Who are their proxies? These different countries, these corporate giants, right? These technocratic giants, these political giants, such as your presidents, your prime ministers, the whole fucking house of the house, right? The House, the Senate, all of them. It don't matter if it's the House of Commons, if it's the Congressional House, it don't matter. They run all of that. That's how they use it. You wouldn't know. You would think that it's just a bunch of governing heads coming together, deciding the fate of their constituents or the fate of their country and their citizens. But it's not them. It's the banking elite. Everything that Trump is doing, he's taking orders. He's a president of something. He ain't the owner of the company. He's the president of the company of America, United States of America. He's the president. They got a board, right? You got a vice president. You got senators. You got different legislations, right? You got what is it called? You got the three forms of government of America: is the federal, the judicial, and the legislator. So it has to go through all of that. But the super elite banking families own all of them, right? And they're all tiny tops. The super elite, they're all tiny tops, Edomites. And these are the people that's ruling, right? But they're ruling from behind the scenes, and now they want everything in their control, right? They want to cripple the whole world. They already did it using economics. Now they want to enslave you using economics. You got it, brother.
That's right. It says, loyalty integration, payments automatically linked to reward programs and personalized discounts, which I had mentioned before with the credit cards. But look, they're gonna give you incentives to take it. Smart cities. It says in the future, one device could pay for transit, parking, food, or entertainment across the entire city.
Right.
And
Every city, Slovakia, every city ain't gonna be the same. Some cities gonna be better off. You see in movies like you see that movie fuck is that the movie where old girl with the art, she was an archer and shit. I forget the name of that. Hunger Games.
Hunger Games, yeah.
Yeah. Some movies, some places you ain't gonna be able to use it to do all of that other shit. You just using it to eat and survive. And clock in and go to work. You got it, brother.
Yep. Yeah, and then shoot, I lost what I was about to say. Smart cities. Da, 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 da.
It says one device.
Oh yeah. Salaga, the Wadiha Bashimasha. Yeah, so pretty much be part of the marketplace, right? We mentioned those words buy and sell in Revelation 13 and 17. Buy and sell goes to pretty much being able to operate in the market. So it tells you smart cities in the future, one device could pay for transit, parking, food, and entertainment across the entire city.
One device is that chip.
That's right.
You got it.
It says the road ahead, what the future holds, biometric only payments.
That's also too. It says about transit, like a couple years ago, the state of Hawaii moved to a digital payment system for the transit system. I mean, you probably could still use it here and there for the dollars and coins and shit, but they moved to the Halo or the Hollow card here in Hawaii, and even on the mainland, it's the same way. You use this digital form of payment, this app or QR code to use transit, to use the public transit system, and it's all going to be connected to your chip. You got it, bro.
Yeah, and it's like it's all for control purposes, man. Everything's gonna be tied up. Like if you brothers and sisters have noticed, before you were able to make an email just randomly, but now they're asking you for phone numbers, or authentication, all of that. The same thing with the transit. Back in the day, I mean, I'm from New York, and we were able to, buy. You could buy a monthly pass, and shit, you could go to work and lend it to somebody to use, and they'll bring it back to you. You keep using it. It's not gonna be like that no more. Everything's gonna be for only for you, just like what Costco and Sam's do. You know, you can't go to Costco and use somebody else's membership.
Mm.
Like you literally have to have your picture and the credit. Even when you pay, it has happened to me a couple of times where I'll go pay with my sister's card or with my wife's card, and they tell me like, no, if the credit card name doesn't match the membership card, you cannot pay for it. So imagine they don't even want to take your money. They just want to know that you are that person paying with your own money and whatnot.
That's right.
And then they'll say it's for security purposes and whatnot. But there's always a an ulterior motive with Esau, man.
That's right.
Biometrics only payments. It says wearables may be involved. So like wearables may evolve into devices where your fingerprints, irises, or heartbeat is your payment or credential. No cards or accounts needed.
That's right.
Uh, Integration with the metaverse.
Hey, speak for a minute, brother. I'll be right back.
Integration with the metaverse. Wearables can enable digital payments in virtual environments, bringing real and virtual economies. Uh, which again, all of this is part of what Isu's been building, man. The metaverse, the whole um online presence, social media, all of that is was part of this experiment that Isu is, pushing out, putting everybody on the digital grid. It says ultra mini authorization from payments from payment enabled earrings to clothing with NFC chips. Fashion tech is ready to explode. You see, so they're trying to put it everywhere, pretty much, and eventually it's gonna end up where subdermal, which we already see. These companies do it. As a matter of fact, I have an article on there. I'll put it in a second. But it says AI powered smart payments. AI enabled wearables could analyze spending patterns and make financial recommendations in real time. You see, so everything is to benefit your life here on this planet. You know, track your financials. You don't have to have a phone or a wallet. You don't need keys to enter your apartment or to turn on your car, right? Conclusion: tapping into the future. The journey of the journey from wallets to wearables is more than a technological shift. It is a cultural one. Wearables are not just making payments easier; they are redefining how we interact with money in everyday life. And this is what we were pointing out in Revelation 13 and 17, man. That it says what? That no man may buy or sell Salakia, and that no man might buy or sell save he that have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So nobody's gonna be able to access the marketplace unless you have that mark, right? Salakia. So it's gonna be a new way. Uh, what did it say? It says it's a cultural way. It's gonna be a new culture on how to trans or make transactions, right? Pretty much being the market. Wearables are not just making payments easier, they're redefining how we interact with money in everyday life. For customers, this means unparalleled convenience, right? You see, everything is about convenience. For businesses, it means new revenue streams and faster transactions. for the world, it signals the dawn of a cashless, cardless, and fictionless economy. And this is where we're heading. And again, they make it seem as, oh, it's just wearables, but they've already begun decades ago to what, to uh, put subdermal implants into people, man. It says as adoption grows, the technology advances. Wearable payments won't just be a novelty; they'll be the new normal. The next time you buy a coffee, don't be surprised if all it takes is a flick of your wrist.
You see, in your hand or on your forehead, in your hand.
That's right. I had another. I mean, this is a long article too, but pretty much this is what I wanted to get. This last paragraph. It says reflecting on the tech-driven tomorrow, which this is speaking about how the Swedes. Well, there's a lot of information in here too, man. But it's speaking about how it. Let's read this top paragraph first. It says inside Sweden's cashless future, thousands opt for microchip implants. It says in Sweden, thousands of people have already taken a leap that feels straight out of a science fiction novel. They have chosen to have a tiny microchip inserted under their skin, a device that can replace everything from and keys to their train, ID cards and keys to the train tickets and credit cards. What once seemed futuristic is now an everyday reality for many Swedes, signaling how rapidly technology is reshaping human life. And again,
Yep.
this is what we're seeing, not just in Sweden. I mean, Sweden is spearheading the whole movement, but it's everywhere, man. East was pushing this everywhere, and it starts again with the animals, with a few people, a few individuals that volunteer to the point where he's gonna be like, well, fuck it, this is the new way of payments.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
something, bro. I got something.
Huh?
Salaki, bro. I got something, bro. When you done.
Yeah, yeah. No, you got it. You
So
can bring it out.
you had mentioned Sweden about them being the first, pretty much the first to really jump on this the RFID microchip.
You gotta
Sweden, right?
share the screen out.
No. I'm gonna say it in a second. But
Oh, okay.
you had mentioned that the Swedes were the first, some of the first, if not one of the first countries to really accept this chip as a way of buying and selling and using it as a new way of form of currency for themselves, right? Check this out. I knew this before, but I'm glad I looked it up. I asked the question: was Sweden the first to accept fiat currency in Europe? And it says yes. Sweden was the first country in Europe to issue and accept paper banknotes, which function as an early form of fiat currency based on public confidence rather than immediate redemption for metal. In 1661, initiated by Johann Paulmark at Stockholm's Banco, these notes were created to solve the practical issue of hauling massive copper plate coins. You see? So just like they were the first to jump on that fiat currency in Europe, they're the first to jump on that chip in Europe. They are. Let me ask this question. Since I asked that question, was Sweden the first country to accept an NFC chip as payment, right? No, Sweden was not the first country to accept NFC chips for payments, although it is considered the world's first cashless society. So we won't even need that. Who was the first? Their cashless society, the first widespread use of the practice payment technology predecessor to modern NFC was introduced in South Korea in 1995 with the U-Pass system for public transport. Let me see. I said the NFC, set the microchip as payment. Yes. Ooh. So you got it twice, brother. They were the first to accept fiat currency, and they were the first to accept, widely considered the first country to adopt and normalize the use of implanted microchips for payments. You see, these Edomites are the first ones to do it. You see,
the example to follow.
exactly. So that's why it's nothing new. It's nothing new. They're the first cashless society. They're the first country to go cashless, all cashless. They're the first country to accept or adopt, normalize the use of implanted microchips for payment, right? And they were the first to accept the fiat currency, bro. Right? Because they're looked at as the heads of their people, right? They're the more forward thinking of their nations, of the Edomite nations, bro. You see, we can't make this stuff up, brother.
That's right.
That was all you had, brother? You got something else?
No, I got a couple of more things in this article.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap it up soon, brother Salaki, bro.
Yeah, no, well, I actually just jumped down to this last piece because this is where I wanted to go to. It says, reflecting on the tech-driven tomorrow, it says Sweden's embrace of microchip implants offer a window into a possible future for the rest of the world. It challenges us to think differently about technology, not as a separate force, but as something that can be harmonized with human existence. The success of this movement will depend on maintaining ethical standards and ensuring technology serves humanity rather than the other way around. What is clear is that the future is arriving faster than most expected. The Swedish example shows how societies can adapt to bold innovations when guided by trust, transparency, and curiosity. A technology continues to evolve. As technology continues to evolve, microchip implants might soon move from novelty to norm. Ultimately, this story is not about chips and data; it's about people and progress.
And why they want to make it, they want you to believe that this getting the chip implanted in you is about progress. But I guarantee you get that chip in you, and you ain't gonna feel no progress. Especially if you're so-called Negro, Latino, Native American here in America or abroad. It ain't for it. Ain't, they're not giving this to you because they want you to progress. They could care less about your progress. They want you to be a slave. And as any slave society, you got some slaves that's doing better than others, like those people in Sweden. But nonetheless, they're still slaves. They just adopted it early.
That's right.
You got it, bro.
It says, it is about people and progress. It is about the choices society makes in the pursuit of a smarter, more connected world. And as Sweden leads the way, the rest of the world watches closely, wondering whether the next great leap in humanity technology might start with something as small as a grain of rice.
Which is that chip, the seed.
Yep.
That's all you had?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So, real quick, I was gonna play a little bit of these two videos, but I'm gonna have to say this for the next time we do this lesson. I'm gonna keep this up, But this is 2 Corinthians 2:11. Let Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And this chip is Esau, Satan. This is his device. He's Satan in the flesh, right? He's governed by the spiritual demon Satan, Esau, Edom. And this is what they want to control the people, right? This is right here. Not this little square thing, but this thing right here. This is going to be the new way of buying and selling, right?
That's right.
All right. So this has been a part 1 of We're in the End Game Now. We hope that you got something from this. You got edified. We hit the nail on the mark. Lord willing, we might come back on Sunday. Lord willing, tomorrow's camp day, so we may come back on Sunday and finish part 2 off. With that, we give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, by Gosh. Double honor to the apostles and the bishop elders of Great Millstone for teaching the word and truth, the sincerity for ruling well, the salutation to the elect. Keep pushing, keep striving. We're almost out of here. Hey, shalom.
Hey, shalom.
Hold on, brother.